Yonta pravisya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjivayata kila shakti dhara svadhamna anyam shahasta charana shavana svagadi pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam Tadanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram pade Vismrute viparitam sya Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming again. I'm sorry for the last 2 weeks we couldn't have the class. And I regret that next week also I won't be there. But we will have regular classes every Monday, every Tuesday. So we continue from where we stopped last time. We were discussing the effect of experiencing Krishna. The theme was how Narada is recalling his experience of how he got educated and trained from the Bhakti Vedantas. After being trained and after they left, the sages, Vyasdev asks him a question that after they left, what you did? Then he reveals how he practiced the process, and the Lord appeared before him, and then the Lord disappeared. The Lord told him to follow a process. And after he followed the process, he left his body, and then he got this Narada's body. And then what are the effect of experiencing Krishna? That we discussed last time. We discussed from verse number 26 to 33. And we saw that there were two effects. Anybody remember what were the two effects that he went through because he experienced Krishna? Yes, he became free of envy and also he was free of pride, false pride. This was the first effect of experiencing Krishna, that he became free from pride and envy. Today we will discuss the second effect that he had because of experiencing Krishna, which is from text number 34 to 38. That will conclude the chapter also. Today we will hopefully complete the chapter. And then next time we can start with the second chapter. So now we'll start from 34 to 38. The second effect of experiencing Krishna is Narada felt fearless. No anxiety, no stress, no fear. Everybody is living in fear, insecurity. Everybody has their insecurity. But one who experiences Krishna has no more fear. He becomes Abhay. Srila Prabhupada's name was Abhay Charan, Abhay Charanaravindha. One who is fearless because he has taken shelter of Krishna lotus feet. So we will see how Narada explains this fearlessness that came to him. We will chant verse number 34 and who will read the translations today? Last time who read the translations? Last time who read? Anybody remembers? You probably read. So today one of the Mataji will have to read. You will read? Thank you. Verse number 34, please respond. Etadyatura chittana patra sparsha chayam bhava sindhu plavo drishto hari charyan varna.
Always full of cares and anxiety is due to the varying contact of the senses with their objects, can throw the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead.
Those are always full of anxieties. आतुर चित्तात्मा जो बड़े आतुरता में रहते हैं उनको बहुत टेंशन होता है लाइफ. Somebody was telling me, पहले जिंदगी में बहुत टेंशन हुआ करता था, अभी टेंशन में थोड़ी जिंदगी रहेगी. टेंशन इतना बढ़ गया है कि जिंदगी नहीं रहा. So ये तो भी आतुर चित्ताना, that जो आतुरता है, जो एंजाइटी है, and that happens because of matra sparsha chaya. When the senses, that is touch, eyes, nose, tongue, ears, when these senses touch the sense objects, so when this contact of the senses with the sense objects happens, desires come. And the desires cause a lot of anxiety and insecurity and fear. And therefore, we are not able to cross over this ocean of ignorance. Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto. But if we take shelter of Krishna's holy names, Hari Charyanu Varnanam, if we hear about Krishna, if we speak about Krishna, then we can cross over this. And Narada is saying, because I was constantly glorifying Krishna and hearing about Krishna, I became fearless. So, this is a very, very important verse. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, there are 18,000 shlokas, out of which if you select top 100, this will be there. And out of those top 100, if you select the top 10, this is it. Out of this top 10, if you select top 3, there also you find this. It is one of the most powerful shlokas because this tells us very clearly that holy name and chanting and hearing about Krishna is the best tested method for becoming free of insecurity. That's why this verse is very, very, very important. Because the material world, one of the four main characteristics of life in this world is ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maithun. Eating, sleeping, sex life, and defending. The defending or bhaya or fear principle, bhaya. Ahara, nidra, bhaya. Bhaya is the most powerful of these four principles. Everybody has insecurity, everybody has anxiety. You see, even even when you see a hen, have you seen the hen taking grains? Always looking at fear that a cat may come and pounce. So when we are eating food, we may not be afraid of somebody coming. They may think we are more advanced. But when you have left your house and come here, you have locked your house. Why? Because you're afraid of some cat, dog. You're afraid of who? Human beings. Every other species is afraid of, like a cat is afraid of dog. A rat is afraid of cat. Generally, they're afraid of a member of the opposite, some other species, not the same species. But human beings are not afraid of cat or dog or lion or tiger. We are afraid of another human being. And even there, we are generally afraid of our own relatives. Many times, anxiety is caused. It's very, very tragic. Like somebody was telling me recently, बहुत दिनों से कोई नया जख्म नहीं मिला. बहुत दिनों से कोई नया जख्म नहीं मिला. जरा पता तो करो ये अपने हैं कहाँ. That is our life, So always constantly anxiety, constantly wondering what will happen. And this anxiety is caused by our own people many times, our own relatives, our own people we love. So this fear principle, defending principle, and insecurity is very rampant. And there is no solution. You can try all self-help books. You can read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You can read Wayne Dyer's books. You can read Louis Hay. You can read Tony Robbins. You name it, you read all of them. But ultimately, only an experience of Krishna can remove that anxiety and insecurity. We need to feel a sense of belongingness with Krishna, who is our eternal parent. We need to feel a sense of shelter. Only then the mind becomes peaceful. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains very clearly that we can't change the subject, or we can't stop the senses from contacting sense objects as long as they're in this world. What we need to do is we need to simply change the subject matter. So, senses and the sense objects contact cannot be stopped. Like your eyes, you can't stop the eyes from seeing something good. Like, for example, tongue, you need to eat some good food. So sense touch, you touch some soft object, some nice object. So senses contact the sense objects and be stopped. Srila Prabhupada explains that what we can do instead is we can change the subject matter. Like instead of eating, say, ordinary street food, we can allow the tongue to eat prasad. Instead of the eyes, seeing something nonsense, we can see Krishna's beautiful deity. The ears, we can, instead of hearing something bad, some tamasic music, we can hear Krishna bhajans. So like that, we can change the topic from sensual to devotion. So therefore, when our senses come in contact with Krishna's senses, that is the meaning of purification. And that is how we overcome our insecurity. So Prabhupada's purport, can you read Mataji where he says, instead of talking of the politics of dying man, from that part? Find that?
Yeah. Instead of
Loudly.
Instead of talking of the politics of a dying man, one might discuss the politics administered by the Lord himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist, one can turn his attention to the activities of the Lord with his eternal associates like the gopis and Lakshmi.
Okay. So here, this is how Prabhupada is saying that we can't stop the senses, but we can choose to connect with Krishna. So somebody may say, okay, I decide that I won't chant Hare Krishna, or I won't practice devotional service, but I will do yoga, I will do meditation, I will do breathing, which I also do. But I'm just saying, if I say I will do only this and I will not do Krishna consciousness, will my insecurities, will my fear and anxieties actually dissolve? Let us see what Narada says in the next verse in answer to this anticipated question. Text number 35. Yamadibir yogapate kamalobhato kunda sevaya yadva tatapmadhana shamyati.
It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the
Yoga
system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. And this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this, satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of God.
So remember, Narada Muni's initial instruction to Vyasdeva was don't mix, just give pure devotional service. So he's saying that from mixed devotional service, where you do other things, you will not get satisfaction. See, we may need to do breathing, we may need to do yoga. Like I myself do, I take what I call breathing breaks. Many times in a day I stop, I pause whatever I'm doing, I inhale and exhale to the count of 4, I relax, and then again recharge my batteries. So we are not against this, but the point is, it is necessary, breathing, yoga, exercise, meditation, but it is not sufficient. It is necessary, but it is not sufficient. Because even with all the yoga and all the pranayama and other paths, the vacuum in the heart won't go away. That feeling of lack of shelter, that will not be overcome. That's what Narada's verdict is. And Narada also is speaking very honestly, that without Krishna, life is empty. And he confesses that Krishna consciousness is the only solution. And remember, Narada is not speaking theory now. He's given his own practical experience. For those of you who have come late for these classes, please know that we've already discussed the first 5 chapters. In fact, the 6th chapter is ending now. So already the theory has been established. Now he's speaking his own practical case study and he's coming to this conclusion. So let us see further what he says. Because he's saying this is his practical experience and he confirms it in the next verse. Verse number 36. Sarvam tat idam akyatam yat prishtoham taya nakha janma karma rahasyam me bhavatas chatma toshanam.
O Vyasdev, you are freed from all sins. Thus I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization as you asked. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also.
So you can very clearly see that Narad Muni is saying that I have explained my birth, my activity. Basically, it is all his realization. And he is speaking about his realization. And now he's going to give a conclusion of this chapter. This is how this entire section. Remember how we have begun. Vyasdev was depressed. And Narada Muni comes, diagnoses what is the problem with him, gives him a solution. And after giving him the solution, to convince him about the solution, gives his own case study. And after he gives his own case study, Vyasdev says, okay, you learned all of this from your gurus, but after your gurus left, after that, what you did? And this is what is revealed. And this entire section is now coming to an end, where he's going to give a conclusion in text number 37 and 38. In 37, he says, Suta Vacha Evam Sambhasya Bhagavan Narado Vasavi Sutam Amantra Vinam Pranayam Keo Yadvichiko Muni.
Sutta Goswami says, thus addressing Vyasadeva, Srila Narad Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his veena instrument, he left to wander at his free will.
It's interesting, Narad Muni has become free. He is practicing devotional service. They surrendered to Krishna and he says, I became free. This is a paradox. Generally, we think those who surrender to God. In fact, many people don't come to ISKCON, and I know many people who tell their friends, oh, I like these videos of Gaur Gopal Prabhu, I like Hare Krishna, but I won't come to Hare Krishna. Oh, I don't want to come to these classes. You don't eat onion bhavi. Oh, you can't enjoy. So immediately the fear we all have is that the freedom will be curtailed. But look at the paradox. Narada says, I became more free. This is counterintuitive. When we surrender to Krishna, we actually experience more freedom. Because the heart is filled with Krishna, then you have no agenda, no ulterior motive when you're interacting with others. And you are just doing selfless service. It's amazing how you actually experience freedom. Because when the desires are purified, there is more freedom. There's a very nice verse in the scriptures. It's a very rhetorical shloka. It's basic Sanskrit. I'll explain it in English also. It says, Asha nama manushyanam kaschid ascharya shrinkala. Asha means desires. Hope, in this case, desires. All the desires is a very interesting rope. Asha nama manushyanam kaschid ascharya shrinkala. This is a very, very interesting rope. Why? Asha nama manushyanam kaschid ascharya shrinkala yata badha pradavanti mukta tishtanti panguvat. One who is bound by this rope of desire, yata badha pradavanti, is running everywhere. One who is bound by the rope of desires, he runs everywhere. Mukta tishtanti panguvat. One who is free of this desire of rope of desire, he stays in one place. Logically, if you are not having rope bound, you should be running. But this is how the paradox is, because material desires actually cause a lot of anxiety. So there is no freedom there. So this is what Narada Muni is saying. This verse is not from Srimad. This is from one of the Shastras. I read it in college. I don't remember from where. So now the conclusion of this chapter is given in the verse number 38. So please respond. Aho devarshir danyoyam yat kirtim sharangatvanam gayan madyan idam tantriya ramayat aturam jagat.
All glory and success to Srila Narad Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead, and so doing he himself takes pleasure and also enlightens all the distressed souls of the universe.
So basically, he is glorifying Krishna. Because of this, what is happening? He is happy. Because he is glorifying Krishna, he is happy. And what is happening? He is also enlivening all the distressed souls. Means one can inspire others to the extent one is himself filled with Krishna. Narad Muni is filled with Krishna, therefore he can give Krishna to others. So this entire section begins with that verse. I want all of you to go back to that verse, 34th verse. You can once again repeat after me. Verse number 34, which I said is one of the most important shlokas of the Srimad Bhagavatam. You can memorize this later. It is very nice. Etadyatura chittanam matra sparsha Bhava Sindhu Prabho Drushto Hari Charyan Varnanam. The translation here.
It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring for contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead.
So this chanting is what is being glorified here. This entire section, Narad Muni, because he was chanting and hearing constantly, he became free of pride and envy, and he also became free of all anxieties, and he was fearless. In fact, there's a very beautiful verse in the Narada Puran where the Lord tells very clearly, Naham tisthami vaikunthe yoginam hridayeshu va yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tisthami Narada. My dear Narada, Lord is saying, Naham tisthami vaikunthe. I don't stay in Vaikuntha. I'm not there. Na yoginam hridayeshu va. मैं योगियों के हृदय में भी नहीं रहता हूँ. Where do I stay then? Yatra gayanti madbhakta. Wherever my devotees come together and chant, tatra tisthami Narada. So when we are chanting Krishna's glories here, so Krishna is there. You may not be able to see, but Krishna is present here. In fact, later on we will read in the Bhagavatam that in 13th or 14th chapter, the sages are so excited to hear about Krishna. And Sutta Goswami says, now I am done with, I've finished answering all your questions. Now the katha is over. But they are like, how can we stop? We have just begun. Please go on more and more and more. We want to hear more. And then in one of the verses they says, Shudra Yusham Rina Manga Martyana Vritamichatam Yopahuto Bhagavan Mrityu Shamitra Karman. They are saying, oh, Sutta Goswami, please don't stop speaking about Krishna, because when you speak about Krishna, we know for sure that in our audience, one very special personality has come to hear the class. Who is that? Yopahuto Bhagavan Mrityu, the god of death, which is Yamaraj. So they are saying that when the class is going on, Yamaraj is also going to come and sit in the class and hear the class. So when we are doing Krishna Katha now, Bhagavatam, this chair is empty, maybe he's sitting here. Yamaraj comes and sits and attends the class. And we can't see him, but he's seeing all of us. And later on, when we die and God forbid, if our file goes to Yamaraj, the Yamdutas may take to Yamaraj and say, file aaya aapke paas. Do you know him? You have to send him to hell, torture him. The Yamaraj will see the file and say, अरे इसको देखा था मैं. वो राधा मंदिर को भागवतम क्लास में आता था. ट्यूसडे को देखा है, इसको देखा है, जाना पहचाना है. तो इसको मत लो इधर. वो आता है क्लास में, नालायक है थोड़ा, सोता है क्लास में, पर कम से कम घर में नहीं सो रहा है, क्लास में सो रहा है. अच्छा है, इसको छोड़ दो. So because we are networking with Yamaraj when we are coming for a Bhagavatam class. Shudra Isham Ranamanga Martyanam Rutamichatam. Those are going to die, they should be happy because Yopahuto Bhagavan Mrityu Shamitra. हमने मृत्यु के भगवान को शामिल कर दिया है कृष्ण कथा में. So therefore, it's a very, very happy occasion when there is Krishna Katha going on. Like I knew one sannyasi in ISKCON. He left his world at the age of 96. His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj, he was Gujarati from Gujarat, Rajkot, I think he was from. And, sorry, wanted to say something? Oh, so he was amazing sannyasi. He loved Bhagavatam so much. So He was practicing Krishna consciousness, speaking from Bhagavatam everywhere. And his mood was, in every occasion, he would speak Bhagavatam. If there is a marriage of his, some of his disciples are getting married, he would go there and read Bhagavatam. If there is a death in somebody's house, he would read Bhagavatam. On every occasion, he was reading Bhagavatam. Because he was saying, ultimately, there is nothing auspicious in this world. One day we are happy, another day we are sad. Kabhi kushi, mostly gone. That is how life is here. We're never happy here. One day we are happy, in the same situation, next day we are miserable. So he said only auspicious is, let us discuss Krishna Katha. He had that much faith. And he would always say, when we do Krishna Katha, Krishna gets attracted. And he comes, and that's why you see devotees are happy. Sometimes I used to do this Bhagavad Katha in Borivali for our group. And I remember sometimes some devotee would come and say, Prabhuji, we don't know Sanskrit. But when you chant shlokas, we become very happy. We feel very peaceful. Although we don't know the meaning of the shlokas, what is it? I said, that is because the shlokas are Krishna. They are not different from Krishna. Because you have allowed Krishna to enter your heart, you are feeling peaceful. Jokes and entertainment will not actually make you peaceful. They will only make you laugh. But when we hear about Krishna, then Krishna enters our heart, and then you can even cry and still feel loved by Krishna. जिसके सामने आप हंस सकते हो, उसके साथ पूरा एक दिन बिता सकते हो. तो जिसके सामने आप रो सकते हो, उसके साथ पूरी जिंदगी बिता सकते हो. है ना? तो कृष्ण के सामने आप रो सकते हो. वो शेल्टर देते हैं भगवान कृष्ण. So when we chant, when we hear Krishna Bhagavatam verses, when we hear Krishna stories, there is a lot of peace, a lot of shelter. And therefore, Mahavishnu Maharaj would always say that devotees are happy because Krishna is present in that katha. And Narada is saying that a devotee becomes bindas. He's saying that he had nothing to hide, he had nothing to fear. And this analysis is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is one of our main acharyas in our parampara. He says that when a devotee is absorbed in Krishna, he experiences so much love of Krishna that love overflows in the form of preaching. See, many of us, we preach because हमको कुछ engagement चाहिए. Time निकालना. But pure devotees, when they preach, they're preaching because overflowing with love. Like I was with my spiritual master last week, that's why I couldn't come for the class here. I was in G, and he had just recovered from COVID, and he's 72 years old. So morning, 7 o'clock, he came out of the room, and he was talking to so many people, and I was right next to him, and I got so exhausted. But I saw he entered back the room at 2:30 in the afternoon. Till that time, he was only giving. And at 2:30, he took a little lunch, spoke again to some other devotees, and then I had an appointment with him at 4:15. Then at 11:40, my meeting ended in some time, and then another devotee came, and we saw at 11:30 he came to the room again. And next day again, morning, he was whole day talking to devotee, and midnight, 12 o'clock, he left for America. At the age of 72, he is doing this because it is overflowing. It is not that he's not doing it because he has to do it or somebody has told him to do it. When somebody is loving Krishna, this is what Narada is doing. Narada is going to crazy, far-off places. If you see Narada's story, Narada is one very amazing personality in Bhagavatam. He appears in every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And his preaching or the way he has transformed people's lives, I think there is no more dramatic example than Narada. Like, when he preaches to Hari Ashwas, we will read that in the Bhagavatam later. He preaches to them with puzzles. He doesn't tell them direct Krishna consciousness. He says there is a earth, and then there is a hole in the river, and all those kind of things. He speaks in cryptic languages. And all these 10,000 boys, they understand the poetic message of Narada Muni, and they get direct instructions, and they renounce their family. All the 10,000 brothers, they all leave everything and they become brahmacharis. And then their brothers, the father Daksha begets another 10,000 sons. And they also go to the forest to tapasya. Narada Muni catches them also and says, "What are you doing here? You should follow your brother's footsteps." And they also renounce. So what daring, what preaching he does. Like Mrigari was a very cruel hunter. He used to half kill animals. So Narada goes and preaches to him. And how does he preach to him? By showing him what will happen to him when he dies. He uses special effects. He shows him all the future a destiny for doing such kind of activity. And there's another king called Prachini Parishad. In the fourth canto, you will find how Narada preaches to him. He's a big king. If Narada tells him directly, you should do bhakti, stop your nonsense, the king may feel offended. So Narada says, I want to tell you a story of one king called King Puranjan. So Prachini Parishad doesn't realize that Puranjan is an allegory. Actually, he's talking about me. And the whole story, by the time the story ends, Prachini Parishad understands that मेरे को जाना पहचाना story लग रहा है. And then Narada Muni gives purport. See, this is you. You are suffering like this. And to Vyasdev, we are reading in this section. How does he preach? He tells him his own story. Valmiki Muni, how does he preach to him? He tells him, go and ask your family members if they want to partake the sin that you are incurring by killing animals. And then Valmiki gets a realization. So King Chitraketu, how does Narada Muni preach? Narada Muni tells him, preaches to him through his son. He gives him a son who dies, and the son comes back to life and preaches to his father. Nala Kubera and Manigrave, they were sons of Kubera. How did Narada Muni preach to them? By cursing them. They were a detox plan. He removed all their false pride. So, great souls. They administer Krishna consciousness very innovative way. Because they're filled with Krishna, they are driven, their God is giving them the intelligence according to time, place, circumstances, how to present Krishna consciousness in such a way that they can understand. Basically the ability of the patient to take the medicine, according to that ability, the doctor administers. So Srila Prabhupada also, you see, he was filled with Krishna. And because he was filled with Krishna, he was fearless. Otherwise, how do you explain a 70-year-old man going to America with no support, no contact, and fearlessly is preaching? He is going to, within America, he's going to crazy places. And he's just going there doing kirtan. Now, I went to Tompkins Square Park in New York, and they told me that, we know that this is like a landmark historical place, because there is a place where Srila Prabhupada started Hare Krishna chanting in America. So I went to that Tompkins Square Park and I was shocked. Such a horrible park. I used to think, now when I came back, for me, Hanging Garden is like a heavenly place. I thought America must be a great country, beautiful country. Yeah, it is a beautiful country, but Tompkins Square Park is horrible. All beggar, and we're talking about 2023, 1960, which was even worse. And there, in the middle of that park, Srila Prabhupada does kirtan and gets all these hippies to chant and dance and make them devotees. One has to be fearless, because Srila Prabhupada was going to his house. There is a sniper. He used to randomly kill people. And Srila Prabhupada said, you are not afraid. Srila Prabhupada always quote this. Rakhe Krishna mare ke. Mare Krishna rakhe ke. If one is protected by Krishna, who can kill? And if Krishna decides to kill you, then who can protect? So I am always amazed by Srila Prabhupada's fearless quality. His ability to go to US and with no support, no money, braving a heart attack in this cargo ship that is traveling. Like if you get a heart attack, if a person gets a heart attack who has no contacts, very poor, he'll be worried about how to get his health revived. And Srila Prabhupada, he survived, and when he gets a heart attack, he's praying to Krishna, Krishna, please use me as an instrument of compassion to help the people. That is his prayer when he gets a heart attack. This is very strange. I don't know any human being who, when he gets a heart attack, our natural defense mechanism is to pray that Krishna, please cure me. I want to live. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, I want to be an instrument in your hand of compassion to help conditioned souls. And he survived that heart attack. And when the ship comes to Boston Harbor, if I have survived two heart attacks, after I come out of the port, the first thing is I would go and see a doctor. And Srila Prabhupada comes out of the ship and directly goes for preaching. He doesn't go to a doctor. How do you explain this? This is illogical. That means he was fearless and he was not driven by material senses. He could, and he wanted, and he knew that Hare Krishna chanting will take them to the different realms. So he told them, chant Hare Krishna. These hippies, they had this experience of a drug. At that time, one drug was very popular in America. It was called LSD. Now, LSD was a drug which was pioneered by few people at that time, Allen Ginsberg, Timothy Leary, Richard Alpert. They were all very, very famous people in America at that time. Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, the professors of Harvard University. They were nationally renowned figures in America. And they were promoting LSD drugs. And Srila Prabhupada was giving classes, and these hippies would come who would take these drugs. And they would say that we take these drugs and we get high. So the how, and Prabhupada would say all the drugs is nonsense. Just and Hare Krishna, give up drugs. So, and Srila Prabhupada wanted to tell them that, you chant Hare Krishna, you go to Krishna's Golok Vrindavan, all those things he wanted to tell them, but how will they understand? Even in India, people find it difficult to understand that, you go to Golok Vrindavan, be with Krishna, and how to make these hippies understand that they have to go to spiritual world. Because our philosophy is, if you go to spiritual world, every step is a dance, every word spoken is a song. Yata, Ganam, Natyam, Gamanamapi, Vamshi, Priyasati, we chant all these verses. Spiritual world is a beautiful abode. Even Indians, it is difficult to convince that you chant Hare Krishna, so that you can go to Krishna's beautiful world. How do we convince these hippies? Look at Srila Prabhupada's genius, how he preached to them. So when they asked Srila Prabhupada, what is this spiritual world like? You know what Srila Prabhupada said? With his eyes very big, he said, it is like an ocean of LSD. Because they were attached to LSD, they could understand, wow, that means it is so high, that gets so high in chant Hare Krishna. So that's what I'm saying. A pure devotee makes Krishna consciousness relatable. Like a child, how you tell a child, according to the level of the child, you make the child attracted to Krishna. Like last week when I was in Govardhan Eco Village, His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj was walking, so I was walking with him. So one lady came with a small daughter, 4-year-old daughter, very beautiful child. And she looked at Maharaj and said, Maharaj, I saw a beautiful butterfly. It was so sweet. And she started glorifying, and Maharaj was looking at her, talking to her. And after she finished, I was thinking, what will Maharaj tell her? Maharaj is telling her, that butterfly came to me also. And this girl is looking at me, really? Yeah, the butterfly came to me, and you know what she told me? The girl is like surprised that the same butterfly came to Maharaj. And she told Maharaj something. So she said, oh, what did this butterfly? Maharaj said, this butterfly told me that she loves you. This girl was so happy. So he is trying to connect. He knows how to connect with that child. The pure devotee, because he is filled with Krishna, he knows how to give Krishna in a way suitable for everyone at different levels. Like Narad Muni knew what to give Valmiki, what to give Brigari, and what to give Vyasdev. Everybody gave different packets. So like that, Srila Prabhupada would always give examples in a way that people could understand. I was one lecture I was hearing recently. In the background, you can hear a lot of noise of cars going, trucks going. This is a lecture is giving in 26th Avenue. And the door is open, and you can see that in the background, a lot of trucks going. And how Srila Prabhupada uses this situation? Srila Prabhupada says, the soul never dies. He wants to explain this point. Now, how do you explain this point to hippies who are high on drugs? They don't understand anything about the soul. And he's telling them that we never die. The soul always exists. To explain this point, Srila Prabhupada says, can you hear this car sound? You can hear that in the background. And then we say, look at that car. The car they see, and then the car goes away. Srila Prabhupada says, so you saw the car for a few seconds. Did that car not exist before you saw it? So the car was existing. The car came to your vision now. And then in a few seconds, the car was lost to your vision. But the car exists. But you saw it for a few moments. And Srila Prabhupada says, similarly, the I, the soul, exists forever. We may perceive it now. You may see your neighbor now. He is alive in your material vision. But he existed before you saw him, and he will exist after you see him. What a beautiful example. Srila Prabhupada could connect with them. He could tell them. So all this is because he was absorbed in Krishna. And because he's absorbed in Krishna, Krishna is directing him. This is the Narada Muni. Narada Muni was going with his veena. Prabhupada was going with his bead bag. Telling everyone about Krishna. That's why you see Srila Prabhupada lectures. Have you ever seen any? See, in internet, there are many videos on YouTube. Will you ever see Srila Prabhupada giving a lecture with some notes? अरे ये point बोलना है, ये point बोलना है. Never, he never prepared for any class. No notes. Why? Because his whole life was a preparation. Because what he thought, see, inside, outside is filled with Krishna. He doesn't have to prepare us. Just glorify Krishna. And that doesn't mean those who prepare, they are doing wrong. Because this is a service, because people are coming from far, they want to hear about Krishna. Better you prepare properly and share so that you can serve them nicely. So there are devotees who prepare classes, they are also doing the right thing. But I'm just saying, Srila Prabhupada, he never had to, because what he was thinking, what he was feeling, everything was same. See, many of us, we think one thing, we feel second thing, we speak third thing, we do fourth thing. So we need notes. But one who is inside outside filled with Krishna, he doesn't have to worry. He's fearless. That is the point. Matra sparsha chaya bhavadhindu prabho drishto haricharyanu. So therefore, their agenda, Navad Muni, Srila Prabhupada, their agenda is to remove from this mayas, this illusion, and they want us to go to Krishna. But right now, we are seeking happiness in this material realm, which is, you get little happiness, but so much of atura chitta, anxieties to maintain that happiness, or the price we have to pay for getting that pleasure. See, we are not denying that there is pleasure in this world. It is like, somebody gives you a gulab jamun or rasgulla. It's very tasty. Rasgulla, anybody denies it is sweet? No. But if you are told that this rasgulla costs 1 lakh rupees, what you will say? Arey bekar hai. What you mean is, it is not bekar hai. You know it is sweet. When you say bekar hai, what you are saying is it is not worth the cost. So when pure devotees condemn, Bhagavatam, we find many statements condemning sense gratification, sex life. It is not that they are denying that these activities have pleasure. They are saying it is worthless because of the cost involved, the price you have to pay. That is why they are condemning it. थोड़ा सा स्वीट है, but वो 1 लाख रुपया तो बहुत ज्यादा हो गया, तो बहुत ज्यादा हो गया. And then you solve one problem, then but another. You are never free of anxiety. तजुर्बे ने एक ही बात सिखाई है. तजुर्बे ने एक ही बात सिखाई है, नया दर्द ही पुराने दर्द की दवाई है. This is material life. We don't get anything for free. No pleasure is free. It's like you get pleasure, but immediately every act of enjoyment is like, it's like you've impregnated your future. It's like it's pregnant with suffering. The moment you've enjoyed, there is pregnancy. At the right time, suffering will be delivered to you. And it will come X amount of pleasure is equal to 2X amount of pain. Pleasure is never free. It is like, coin has two sides. Heads. You can't get only heads. Only in that one movie was there when I was small, very popular movie. Pura movie was based on that theme. उसका coin में दोनों एक ही रहता है. वो last में reveal होता है, suspense. Only in that movie the coin will have heads on both sides. But in real life there will be heads also, there will be tails also. You can't get only heads, only metaphors. So that's why you should clarify your expectations. If you're coming to ISKCON thinking that now I will have only happiness and pleasure, then you are in a big illusion. Because material world will give you the package, what it has to give you. But Hare Krishna is like the umbrella. Rains will not stop falling, but you will have a nice umbrella. You'll be able to protect yourself. So, therefore, Maya Sukha is illusion. There is no Sukha. It is like, you're given a gulab jamun, very tasty gulab jamun, and you're putting on the tongue, but just imagine the tongue is covered with a thin layer of plastic sheet. Can you enjoy that? क्या टेस्ट मिलेगा? तो हमारा लाइफ का happiness is like that. We don't get the real enjoyment. So, and we do get sometimes, but it is, like how many of us can guarantee say that I will live a healthy life for the next 30 years? The best of doctors can't say this. I mean, we enjoy, we don't even know what disease is awaiting us or what is building up inside. It's like, in some of these prisons, the prisoner is sentenced to death. Last meal, he served a big feast. So when he served a big feast, he's not happy, that मतलब अभी आ गया सूली पे चढ़ना है. So when we enjoy, we have no idea what's coming up. So what he's saying is that basically the happiness that we are seeking and what we are getting, there is an incompatibility. We want a lot of it, but what we get is very insignificant. That is the point. Because soul is anandamaya vyasa. See, in the Zen Buddhism, they teach this very dramatically. You can't do this because or devotees will go mad. What they do in Zen Buddhism, they make these monks in the monastery fast for 5 days. 5 days, no water, no food. And they do intense meditation. And then when they sit, the fast breaking time, there is a bowl of grapes kept. And they're all hungry, thirsty. And then the Zen master tells them, just take up one grape. Only one grape. And now I want to break the fast with just one grape. Means all of you will eat only one single grape. So वो एक grape देता है. You want to have a handful. You want to just devour it, but only one you put. But you're not satisfied. You want more. So then they teach that the point, the lesson they teach is that see what you want compared to that what you get is very little. So this is the point that we get frustrated in this world, even though after all the hard work, when you get pleasure, it is way short of what you expected. And it is a fact. Everybody secretly knows this, that what I've experienced is much less than what I was promised. Isn't it? Sorry to disappoint you, but you know this. Srila Prabhupada was traveling in the car to Mayapur in Kolkata. He saw out the window. He saw a huge line. And he asked, what is this? And they said, Prabhupada, this is a bus stop. They're all standing for the bus. And just at that time, the bus came and the bus was packed with people. And people are struggling to get in. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and looked at the devotees. And devotees saw that he was crying with tears in his eyes. And he was like, just look at these devotees, look at the soul, they were in the spiritual world with Krishna, and now they are struggling simply to live in this material world. See, his heart was broken to see their suffering. So, see, we don't understand the pure devotees more, but pure devotees, when they look at us with, now when we see a crorepati billionaire who comes for our program, we say, wow, the billionaire has come for our program. Hari Bol. And a pure devotee sees the billionaire, he says, Arey bechara crorepati. Bechara billionaire. He sees him as a prisoner of success. That's how pure devotee vision is. So therefore, we are suffering in this material world, and a pure devotee knows that, and it pains. In fact, when we read 5th canto, you find a very interesting verse in the 5th canto. There is one of the reasons given for pralaya, cosmic dissolution. There are many reasons given, like the Lord inhales and then he exhales, all the things are the end of the day of Brahma, everything has to end. But one of the reasons given for dissolution of the universe is Lord Sankarshan is very angry. Because he sees that living entities have not perfected their life to go back home, back to Godhead. Lord Sankarshan becomes very angry that I gave them so many opportunities. And in that anger, in between his eyebrows, the Rudras are created and there is cosmic dissolution. He is angry that we haven't perfected our lives. It is like a child who has done very badly in his exam and is scared to show his report card to his father. And the father is seeing the report card and is very angry. So we have failed, our report card is very bad. So the Lord is very angry, and that's where the cosmic dissolution is. So therefore, this is the way life is, and Lord Brahma also says in one prayer in the 8th canto that, my dear Lord, the purpose of, I have created this material world, but I have created, the only reason why I created this world is so that people become detached from this world. so that they understand that there is no sutta here and that they go back to you. So therefore, you may say we are not, some of you, of course, you are all experienced Grastas. But when I was in youth preaching, many youth would say, but we haven't experienced the material world, we haven't enjoyed. How can you tell us to give up sense gratification? So Prabhupada would say, okay, so Prabhupada had a very simple logic. When people would say that, uh, how can you say we should reject material world when we have not experienced it fully? So Srila Prabhupada says, well, you have not experienced Krishna also fully, then how can you reject Krishna consciousness? Srila Prabhupada would challenge them like that. And in fact, once Srila Prabhupada was giving a class on one hippie got up and he said, hey Swami, have you taken LSD? Srila Prabhupada said, no, I haven't even taken tea or coffee in my life. So then that hippie said, oh, you haven't taken LSD, then how can you reject it? And all his friends started laughing and clapping. And Srila Prabhupada said, I haven't taken LSD, but my students here have taken and they have rejected it. Hayagriva, stand up. So Hayagriva was one of his students, Howard Wheeler. Explained to them, and then Howard started speaking. I was taking drugs, but now I chant Hare Krishna. And then he explained how drugs is useless. So Srila Prabhupada said, you don't have to experience suffering to know that it is suffering. So like this, Srila Prabhupada was an embodiment of compassion representing Srila Narad Muni. And now we have a chance to perfect our lives and not be trapped by the illusion of this material world. Like, one elderly gentleman used to come to our temple many years ago. And one day he sat with me for 3 hours. And that time I used to have a lot of time. Now I can't think of spending 3 hours with someone like that. He said, and he told me the kind of problems he was in, the way his daughter-in-law and his son were treating him. And when I heard it, my heart was completely shattered. And then, and then I asked him how much money he has. We actually sat down with paper and pen and we planned how much money he has and how he is living and how they were treating him like, you don't even treat. It was a very bad treatment he was getting. So then he was crying, he was in so much pain. So then we finally made a plan. So he had so much savings and all of that. So then we decided that he's going to stay in one place. He's going to pay this much rent money. Everything was, I had made all the arrangements. In the sense, everything was planned properly. And then he had to shift on the first of the month, the next month. And we planned, and he also promised, and he said, thank you so much, you got me clarity. Then I spoke from Bhagavatam. All that. I told him what you're saying is nothing new. Bhagavatam is explained also. He also understood everything. But then on the first of that month, he didn't come to temple. I was supposed to take him there. Now I was wondering why he didn't come. And during those days, we didn't have mobile phones. So I was like waiting for him. And then I waited the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then one day, many months later, I saw him in the temple during Sunday Fish program. I said, Uncle, are you here? Then I caught his hand and we went back and we sat. And then I spoke to him. How are you? He said, and he spoke the same thing. I said, Uncle, but हमने बात किया था ये. Remember 6 months ago we spoke all this. And he was so determined to leave the home. And then he also agreed. And then he had tears in his eyes. And then he said, my suffering has become worse. It is the same. Nothing has changed. But I'm not able to leave. But why? He said, when my grandson comes running, I just forget everything. I just can't do it. Then I said, you're happy? I said, no, I'm not. He's miserable. But that hope. So that's how material illusion is. That is the reality of which Bhagavatam exposes us. That it's not easy. Especially when you try to come out of a raging river, it's more difficult as you near the bank. The current is more fierce, it takes you away. It doesn't allow you to come back on the shore. Similarly, as we try to come out of the material tabernacle, as we try to come out of this illusion, we face many impediments. That's why we have great stalwarts like Srila Narad Muni and his representative Srila Prabhupada, who have taught us this process of chanting Hare Krishna, which can make us free. And because they have relishing Krishna consciousness, they're able to take so many risks. They're able to go everywhere and they're able to be Krishna conscious. And this is what Narad Muni has done. He has right now dramatically transformed his own disciple Vyasdev. And remember, we began this chapter by discussing How Vyasadeva asks Narad Muni that what did you do after your teachers left? And now Narad Muni has left after teaching Vyasadeva. So next chapter will begin with Sages said Naimisharanya headed by Shaunaka Rishi asking Sutta Goswami, what did Vyasadeva do now after Narad Muni left? Narad Muni also gave instruction and he left. And that's going to be very interesting. Because what did Narad Muni tell Vyasadeva to do? Nobody knows. To glorify Krishna, to write Bhagavatam. So after Narad Muni left, what did Vyasadeva do? How was Bhagavatam revealed to him? All that we'll be discussing in our next class. I'll pause here. Any questions or comments regarding today's discussion? Yes, Mataji.
In the purport on page 134, to text 37, it is mentioned that without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrendered to the Lord does not mean that the devotee becomes dependent in every aspect. To surrender unto the Lord through the transparent medium of the spiritual master is complete freedom of life. Some elaboration on that to understand.
See, basically, when the freedom of surrender to the spiritual master basically means, see, again I'm saying it's counterintuitive. We think surrender is when we use the word surrender, immediately we think negative. We think it is slavery. We think it is defeat. These are the kind of words that come to our mind when we hear the word surrender. But what actually happens is, this illusory energy, Maya, it's very powerful. We can't free ourselves from it. Only one person can give us strength to say no to the negative things of this world. And that is remembrance of Guru. When we remember Sri Guru, or when we hear his instructions, or when we follow his advice, it's miraculous. How we become free from those trappings. Otherwise, how do we explain? We're all made in Mumbai products. We're all Mumbai walas. How can people live a pure life in Mumbai? With everywhere around you, crazy things are happening. We are able to do it because devotees are able to do it. Those devotees are able to do it. Those who follow or remember their Guru without doubt, with having faith. So therefore, they experience freedom. So the context in here the context is surrendering to Guru. When we surrender to Guru, we become completely free. And we are not dependent on the material need. So that is a very, very special power which only Guru can give. How, there is no logical, you can't say, okay, there's no mathematical formula. This is called as mercy or grace. One has to experience it to feel that. Because Guru is that, there is Paramatma in the heart. You all know that Krishna is in the heart as Paramatma. So when that Paramatma comes out of the heart and sits in front of you, that is Guru. So Guru is Krishna only, who has come in the form of a teacher, a Guru, a representative of Krishna. So when we listen to him or when we hear his instructions, we get unlimited strength. But very important, Srila Prabhupada also clarifies. It's not that we depend on everything. What it means is, there are many Mayavadis, for them Guru is everything. That they will worship Guru and they will have everything opulent for the Guru, and they are so much Guru that they become fanatics. So fanatics that they don't have Krishna at all in the picture. And on the other extreme, there are people in India, Sahajiyas, they are always like Krishna, I love Krishna. Krishna is my Ladla, Krishna, and they don't care about Guru. That is the other extreme. Srila Prabhupada gave the perfect package. He said, we love Guru, we worship Guru because he is not God, because he is a messenger of God. And we love and we worship Guru because he gives us the message of Krishna. It's not like Guru, for Guru Bhakta, so much Guru Bhakta that we don't care about Krishna. No, we love Guru because he gives us Krishna. That is the whole idea. So that's why, you can't go to Guru and say, Guru, I'm not getting a job. Guru Maharaj, please come for my daughter's marriage. Guru Maharaj, my wife gave birth to a child, please name the child. This is not the Guru's business. Many times, we have these kind of expectations from Guru. This is a fact. We depend on Guru for, when I joined the ashram, I'm telling you very honestly here, I had a locker here. I had a chance to get a locker somewhere else, but I could not easily because Maharaj moves from here and there. We keep walking in this aisle of the ashram. If I keep my locker here, I may get a chance to see him and he may hug me. So that the affection and that external thing is so much dependent we are. And we think that is a Guru's business. Guru has to smile at me. Guru has not come for all this. Why has Guru come? What is Guru's business? To give us Krishna. And what he gives you embrace, he pats you on the head, he asks about your well-being, he comes for your daughter's marriage. Why? He thinks in nalayak hai. Kam se kam ye sab karne se Krishna ko shelter lega. So he does all of that so that you take shelter of Krishna. And why we take shelter of Krishna? Because we think if I take shelter of Krishna, then Guru will come for my son's marriage. Guru will come to my house. Guru will smile at me. You understand? So at some point of time, there will be a conflict of expectation. Guru has come to give you Krishna. To give you Krishna, he will do some mundane things also. And we accept Krishna because we want mundane things from the Guru. So eventually Guru realizes, Nalak sudhar hi nahi raha hai. So the Guru will go, see, the Guru is like an intelligent farmer. A farmer will plant the seeds where the soil is fertile. He will not plant seeds anywhere. So after years and years, if you see your heart is still barren and you are not taking up to Krishna consciousness, you will plant the seed of Krishna consciousness in some other hearts. And then you say, oh, the Guru Maharaj badal gaye. You dekhte nahi humko. So all the time we had a material motive. So therefore Prabhupada always told us, don't depend on everything for the Guru. Understand Guru's purpose is to give you Krishna. I hope that answers the question. We'll stop here. It is 8:35. So once again, my sincere gratitude that by all of your prayers, the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, we could complete in 47 sessions. Today is the 47th session we had in our weekly life. This is a series called Life Lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam. We started, I think, 1.5 years ago. We had a lot of breaks in between. But today is the 46th session. So that means we have come a long way. And in these 46 sessions, we have completed 6 chapters of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there are 19 chapters in the first canto. And next class, we're going to start with the auspicious 7th chapter, which will reveal to us how Srimad Bhagavatam was actually composed, what actually happened after Narad Muni left. What vision did Vyasadeva get? We will take it up next week. Next week I'm not there. Post that. And I really, really want to thank you. Because of you coming here, I got a chance to serve Srimad Bhagavatam, study Srimad Bhagavatam, and share with all. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees coming online also. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Prabhupada.